Salve.
Ciao. Buongiorno, Dario.
Buongiorno.
I'm going to show people first the beautiful view from this point.
Yes, yes.
Just a second. So this is where we are, in Petralia, in Sicily. Dario, can you tell us what is your connection with Sicily?
Yes, I was actually born in Sicily. I was born in Palermo in 1974. But I never actually lived here, but I spent many summers as a kid. Almost all my family still lives here in Palermo. So I hadn't been actually in 6 years, but over my life I've been coming and visiting, and it always feels obviously very special. I mean, just the place itself is such a variety of nature and sea and mountains and beautiful scents and fruits, and the food is incredible. So it's always a thrill to come to Sicily.
Okay, so you're going to teach us another lesson.
Yes.
You want to teach us a lesson. I'm not sure the English was entirely correct, but so what would it be about?
Okay, well, it's one thing that maybe is not so much obviously primarily used in the gypsy jazz world, but I think there's obviously being more contamination and more influences. I think more and more players are interested in playing some of the bossa rhythms, the Brazilian rhythms, which can give a nice variety to the choice of songs. You can play songs in a different way, or the Brazilian standards, which are obviously beautiful to play. This obviously involves not necessarily using your pick. In this case, actually not using your pick. And maybe I'll just give a short example of the two main variations I'll be showing. So if I'm playing anything like a Girl from Ipanema, no? So I'd say the main little things are establishing a certain pattern that you want for your bass line, because obviously you're playing a chord and you're playing a bass, and you want them to sort of fit as well and as logically as possible together. So you want to be able to create sort of two separate lines, with the chord, with the bass. I'm keeping the same exact pattern, so...
Can you explain what you're doing, like what finger to use for what strings?
So with the bass, I'm basically only going to use my thumb, and I'm going to establish a certain sequence of basses, or at least primarily.
Yeah.
So root and fifth is primarily.
Okay.
So root, I double on the fifth. Double again, so again I repeat that pattern. And
then you use 3 fingers for the chord.
You can.
How many fingers do you use?
This is entirely arbitrary. I think you can, if you play a full, you can play a full dominant. Depends really on how much body you want. You can use triads, and it sounds just as good, or you can use the full chord or the full ninth. But the important thing is that there's a pattern that you can sort of hold steady within or between what happens with your bass and your chords, and that's what makes it sort of, again, a steady flow for the soloist,
Yeah.
And so once you've established that, for example, in this example, I'm doing bass doubling on the fifth, root. I mean, doubling on the fifth, and then I'll do the same on the G7, and then I'll do the same on the G minor, and on the 5 to the 1. And that way, whoever's soloing is gonna have a nice bass line, consistent, and a consistent sort of pattern of chords to play over. Now.
Okay, so you said there were two basic ways.
So for example, something that will often happen in the bossa tunes is like at the end of the whole structure, you know, you'll have a little vamp where you might double the time, right? So you would possibly something where it would be.
Can you do that slowly?
So
I mean, for the experienced bossa players, this is all like nothing, but for me, it's still very, very interesting. Can you do that slowly?
Okay, I'll do it slowly. Yeah, I'll try it again as slow as I can.
With your right hand is interesting for me what you're doing.
Yeah, it's important to, again, well, I did it fast because I just simply doubled. So this is something that you want to also practice though, to go just in general from a, so if your metronome is, and you're,
I don't get it. Are you not playing twice as fast? You're playing everything double. What is it?
Yeah, your tempo stays the same.
The tempo, but you're playing every beat like a double, the same.
Yeah.
Can you do that slowly, please?
Because it would be.
Yeah, but that's fast.
Yeah, but I have to do it fast a couple of times to memorize.
See, you can't even do it slowly.
So single, double, double.
So this is what you do.
This is a slow motion.
When you do double time, slow motion of what you do when you play double time.
So I do again the root, and then I double the other ones. Double, double. And there's slight ghost notes that you can use.
By the way, the church bells are going crazy at this time.
We are in the mountain
towns. Maybe we should listen to it for a second. Is this all church bells?
It
sounds like car horns and church bells, but it is only church bells,
Being
isn't it?
Sicily, it could be car horns for sure. But
okay. Yeah. Okay, sorry, I interrupted you.
No problem. So there's some sort of slight ghost notes that you can.
Can you tell me what do you mean by ghost notes, since English is not my language?
Basically, you're not really playing or making the bass in this case ring always, because instead of being, this is where the bass is always ringing. Otherwise,
I love that. Beautiful. So what is a ghost note then? It's not clear to me. Oh, you make it, you mute it. That's what you mean, a muted.
Exactly.
Okay.
Ghost sorry, you're right, in terms of mute. So it can add a little bit sort of a rhythmic element to it, where if you play full, is one effect if you want it to be full, but you can also and it has a bit more bouncy feel to it. Again, choices, but I think here once you understand what's happening with your fingers and you do it slow, again, you want to really be able to, if the metronome is, so see, I half, but the tempo is still the same.
Yeah. But you do more within one count. Yeah. Okay. Can you play something for us? Some solo bossa-ish thing?
Yes.
Does it exist?
Yeah.
I just spring that on Dario, so he is not prepared.
So some variations, but wave. This was just a sequence on wave where, you know, I have a basic rhythm, but then I can do some fills, and you know, over time you kind of learn your own. Yeah.
Okay, I need a lot of overtime, but thank you. You're very inspiring, and I'm gonna study hard.
Cool. Me too.
You
Never
don't
stops.
need it. You don't need it.
It
I
never
need
stops. We all need it. Yeah.
That's true. Thank you, Dario.
You're very welcome.